Cat? Oh, there's no music. Let's start the music. Oh, there's no music. Let's start the... All right, D-Live is up. Oh, there's no music. You're seeing the cat. Let's start the music. All right, Foxhole is working. Facebook is good. Facebook is good. YouTube is good. All right. Let's bring the music down. There goes the cat. Are you going? All right, you don't have to. Ow. Stop. These are compression shorts. And you're digging into your fingernails. There you go. You can do that. Let's do the intro.
Welcome to the 9dNation.
בראשית ברא אלוהים את השמיים ואת הארץ.
In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Thousands of years later, it was Wednesday at 11 p.m. Central. Get your passport ready and be prepared to declare to the customs agents any edible plants or miscellaneous worldviews. You're now crossing into the nation with no denomination.
Pardon me for a moment. All right, tons of dead air. Hold on. Okay. There was a cat situation. The cat chose right then to leave. So if you saw the pre-roll, you saw the cat. If you did not see the lead-in, you did not see the cat. And you probably never will. You never know. You know how cats are. This is the 9dNation. The nation with no denomination. I am your host, G. Ross. We are simulcast on YouTube, D-Live, Facebook, and the Foxhole.app. And our Wednesday show for season 2 is Bible reading. We're on episode 12. We've been reading from Genesis 1:1 all the way up to Genesis 3:17. And our story so far, if you're ready to get down to business, well, hello, asshead. We see you in the chat. Hello. I always tell the folks over at Sloan TV, it's just good TV. You know, take your time. Don't head over here until the commander is done. So I don't want to be too efficient on my intro, and I don't want to get to it too quickly. I could still do some setup here, get my notes. Get my notes all ready. Yeah, now we're talking. All right. Let's switch to the screen that you can see on. The main screen. Oh, some issues with video cap. There we go. All right. All right. It is time. Our story so far, Genesis 1:1 to 3:17. Achaya, that's a way to consider pronouncing YHWH. Jehovah, Yahweh, Lord. Achaya made everything, including animals. And everything was ruled by the humans, who ate the illegal fruit. A progeny will stomp the serpent's head and get foot bit. Husband will have authority. Childbirth, food growing, and being in nature in general will be rough. That's our story so far. We've obviously compressed 11 weeks down to a really tiny summary. Let's now start the evening with Genesis 3:18. I feel like my screens are kind of mangled. All right, I'll stop obsessing. Although I do like obsessing. Genesis 3:18. Both thorns and thistles it shall grow for you, yet you shall eat the plants of the field. Now, here comes the fun part if you've never been here. If you've not done this with us before, here's where I terribly... Hello, Patriot Drummer. Good to see you. Just getting to the Hebrew of the night. We read Genesis 3:18 in English. We read our story so far. And now we'll read Genesis 3:18. Or try to in Hebrew. Vekotz v'dardar tots mioch lach v'ha'achalta et esev hasadeh. That's what I think it says. Now, let me zoom in a little. Vekotz, that's thorns. That's could mean a thorn bush or thorns, the root word I mean. There's 12 Old Testament usages, and one of the usage is a painful thorn. Like it's a very... Hey, Black Yoda. We're going to do Zoom. Tell me what you think of this. I think we came up with this towards the end of last week. I'm going to grind through like 4 verses, and then we're going to do commentary. Does that work for you? Let me know. Because otherwise I'm going to be constantly wanting to get back to the text, back to the text, back to the text, and it's going to be this, so we can do freeform commentary after. Did you like that idea? Let me know. Vekotz v'dardar tots mioch lach v'ha'achalta et esev hasadeh. So vekotz, that's thorn bush, can mean painful thorn, and it comes from a related Hebrew word, kutz, which is a very pokey word. And then v'dardar comes from dardar, which is thistles. There's only one other occurrence in the Old Testament, in Hosea, which is the same place, it's the same phrase. Thorns and thistles. So I'm going to go with thorns and thistles for the Vekotz v'dardar. Tots mioch lach v'ha'achalta et esev hasadeh. We know all those words from before. So that's sprout, you'll eat field herbs. So he said, thorns and thistles will sprout, and you'll eat the field herbs. So here's the question. Is he teaching them some pro tips for post the fall? Like, don't eat the pokey things? Or were there pokey things only showing up then? Like, would they have accidentally eaten the pokey things before? They were supposed to tend the garden, so maybe there was pokey things and they were supposed to sort them out. Is it like they got stupider when they ate the bad fruit? Or at least their perspective got less fit to the environment? So let's summarize the verse. Now you will stop eating the stabby parts. That's not the whole verse. Let me try it this way. Pokey plant parts and similar things will be what the ground pops out for you, and make sure to eat the edible parts instead. That's kind of, in today's vernacular, a way to pass that along. If you take the previous verse, 17 and 18 together, it seems like food harvesting and sorting, basically growing and farming, is now going to be hard, or it will at least seem hard, or if it was hard before, it'll be worse now. So now let's take our story so far and put it together. Achaiah made everything, including animals, ruled by the humans who ate the illegal fruit. A future saver will stomp the serpent's head and get foot bit. The husband will have authority. Childbirth, food, growing, and sorting and interaction with nature will be rough. And then before we go to verse 19, which will be our second verse of the night, let me shrink it down just a bit more. Achaiah made everything, and the human regents disobeyed. A savior will stomp the tempter, but get injured. Husband is in authority. Getting along in nature is now difficult. So I Am Beanpole comes in and says, man will need to work harder. So it's a multiplier. He already had to work. Now he has to work harder. So it's not a complete state change, I think you're saying. It's an increase. That's what I was contemplating that. Like, were there thorns before? Is it just going to be more thorns? Or is this the first appearance of thorns? All right, let's do 3 more verses. Let's go to verse 19. By the sweat of your face you shall eat bread until you return to the ground, because from it you were taken, for you are dust, and to dust you shall return. All right. Now, let's attempt the Hebrew. That's a long one. Yeah, that's what she said. Okay. Bazayat apecha tochal lechem ad shuvecha el haadama ki mimena lukacheta ki afar ata ve'el afar tashuv. I Am Beanpole says, I missed the clothes to cover nakedness. I think that means skin, flesh. When I dug into the words for nakedness in the first few, in the earlier part of chapter 3, they really looked like unclothed. It's the clothes to... But either, let's see, miss the clothes to cover nakedness. I think that means... All right, let me get back to this. I'm not sure what you mean, I Am Beanpole. I'm probably being dense. So, Bazayat comes from Zaya, which is only one use in the Old Testament. They say it means sweat. There's a similar word, Yezah, which is in Ezekiel's sweat, and it's like you're wearing too many clothes, and there's a little hint of humidity-induced uncomfort. So I'm confident to say that it's an undesirable effect. And if you look at the book of nature, meaning what we experience, it seems likely that sweat would be part of it. And so with all the scholars chiming in, we can say sweat. But I just wanted to point out it's a very, very seldom used word. One time, and one other similar word. Apecha. Let me zoom in a little bit here. That was Bazayet. Now apecha. We've seen this once before, and it's your face or nose. Tochal, that's to eat. We've seen that a bunch. That's just a common word for the first 3 chapters. Lechem, that's bread or food. That's the first time we've seen that. There's 296 Old Testament usage. And 2/3 of the time it means bread, and 1/3 of the time it means generically food. So let's talk about keto for a second. We love keto, right? Was bread once better for us? You've read about Ezekiel bread or like Joseph's lavash bread. And then before Monsanto ruined our grains, could you eat bread more often? And if fathoms under. Patriot drummer is drumming fathoms under. So then the next word, add, comes from him. As far as, even to, up to, until, or while. There's 1,260 Old Testament usages, and it's like a thing that happens after a prerequisite. It's usually translated as until. Shuvecha, that's from shub or shuv, something like that. And that word is, where was I? That's to turn back or return. There's 1,056 Old Testament usages. It's like return to an origin. Like a repetition it can be, or a restoration. Restoration has a flavor or a failure like something bad happened. Let's see. So he's saying you'll return. You'll be restored, like turn back. El ha'adama ki mimena lukacheta ke afar ata ve'el afar tashov. That's all the way down to here. We know all those words from before. So the ground, since from it you were yoinked, since you are dust, you will go back to dust. So to put it all together, our second sentence of the night, by way of facial uncomfort, you'll eat your typical food until you go back to the ground. Since you came from the ground, since you came from dirt, you'll go back to dirt. So now let's put everything together from Genesis 1:1 to 3:18. No, 19. Ahiah made everything, and the human male-led regents disobeyed, but will be avenged against the tempter. Getting along in nature is now difficult, and individuals die. Were they going to die before eating the fruit? The plain text really does sound like what we see in common life, in death, is directly because of eating the fruit. I'm going to stick with that. We're going to go linearly through the text. If I see any reason to think otherwise, we'll look into it. But it seems to say that thing you see when you're about 6 to 8, your first grandparents die or your first relative dies, that's not would have ever happened if they hadn't ate the fruit. Like, it's pretty much popping out of a common reading of that verse. All right. Panel starts in 2 more verses, if that's cool with everyone. Oh, here's another summary. Let me try this. Ahiah made everything to be led by humans who disobeyed. The serpent will be crushed by a savior. People will die and struggle to get along in nature. That was in my notes. I kind of wrote it that way after writing it the other way. All right. 2 more verses. Let me go to 3:20. Oh, this one. 3:20. Now the man named his wife Eve, because she was the mother of all the living. Sounds good in English. How does it sound in Hebrew? I can't tell you. I am beanpole. Flesh dies. That's a good point, right? So, was it flesh before eating the fruit of the knowledge of good and evil? Or was it some other thing? And then it became flesh, and then that dies. Or is it the curse, and then that makes the flesh die? Good question. But yes, in this season, flesh dies. But we will have bodies that are uncorruptible. But we don't now. All right. I don't know how this sounds in Hebrew, but I know how I'm going to make it sound in my attempt at Hebrew. 2 more verses, and then we'll start our panel. Vayikra ha'adam shem ishto, chava ki hi hayita im kol chai. Those first 4 words we already know. Vayikra ha'adam shem ishto. Proclaimed Adam the name of his wife. Chava, life. It kind of means the first woman. It's pretty much a proper name, I'm going to say. It could come from chava or to declare. There's only 2 Old Testament usages. So, chava, Eve. Kihi hayita im kol chai. That's because she happened to be the mother of all of the alive. Let's put that all together. Adam named his wife Chava because she's everyone's mother or everyone's ma. Let's put it all together. Achaya made everything to be led by humans who disobeyed. The serpent will be crushed by a savior. People will die and struggle to get along in nature. I'm not really mentioning Adam and Eve in the summary. Everybody knows it. I could add a sentence that says they were named Adam and Eve, but I just don't feel like it. All right, 1 more verse, and then we'll start up our panel for the night. Panel can cover these 4 verses, the prior story so far, or anything we want. Hopefully we can vaguely tie it into the Bible and hopefully a little bit into Genesis chapters 1, 2, and 3, but we'll see. This is the first time we've officially done the panel after. We've actually only had the panel one other time, and that was Black Yoda last week, and it was fantastic. So hopefully this will be fun. All right, last verse. Genesis 3:21. All right. And the Lord God made garments of skin for Adam and his wife and clothed them. Let's try it in the Hebrew. Vaya'as achaya Elohim la'adam uleishto kotanat or vayal bisham. I don't really know how to pronounce that last part. So the first few words, 5 words we know. Vaya'as ahaya Elohim la'adam uleishto. That's ahaya made for Adam and his wife. What did he make? Kitone. Tunics. There's 29 Old Testament usages, and it's usually a very large, sturdy covering. These likely were way more protective than the fig skirts, the little sticks they had bundled around. The next word is or. We got a chat from I am Beanpole. If Eve was mother of all living, she created humans, which had been the role of the Lord before we sinned. Weren't they fruitful together and multiplied? I don't think she could do it by herself. She's a vessel. She's half of the process. The tough half. Were they not going to have kids? They were told to be fruitful before the sin. Interesting. Or this word here, that's of skin, which we had seen. No, we haven't seen before. There are 99 Old Testament usages of this word, and it's always skin every time. Is that the part you were asking about earlier? Okay. And then peh is a little grammar word at the end. But then Baal Bishim is from labash or labesh, which is to put on, to wear, to clothe, or be clothed. It's the act of putting on clothing. There's 110 Old Testament usages. So take note, these garments, like if you play D&D, this is like a leather armor almost, right? These tunics, they're not nothing. So they're not just to cover up the shame. And what is the shame? Is it stuff involving reproductive behavior, or is it any kind of nudity? Like, what's the deal there? I can tell you from things I've seen and done. Our mind quickly wants to be clothed exactly like the amount of people around us. If we're overclothed, we feel awkward. If we're underclothed, we feel awkward. You can have a lot of people barely clothed, and you don't have sexual thoughts in your mind, I don't think. Reproductive thoughts. But there is some kind of human nudity and reproduction tie-in, and I don't think we're ever going to figure it out, but I'm acknowledging the debate. I think you can mount some debates on both sides there. But self-made fig skirts were such that God also upgraded them to better armor that functioned better, and it happened to be from some nearby living creatures. So some other animal, and I'm stealing this from other people, but once you see it, you can't unsee it, gave its life to cover up what Adam and Eve needed to cover. So we'll get our panel started, but here, real quick. This verse says, God made for Adam and Eve animal skin clothing and put it on them. Notice he did the clothing. The way the grammar is here, he clothed them. Why couldn't they just put it on themselves? It's almost like a parent to a young child, isn't it? I actually have an 11-year-old running through the house. He's going to be 12 tomorrow. A lot of times I have to remind him, hey, put some clothes on, bro. He just does not seem to want to clothe himself. We know they felt shame earlier, but... So let's put it all together, and then we'll stop the 4 verses for the night, and we'll start our panel. Achaya made everything to be led by humans who disobeyed. The serpent will be crushed by a savior. People will die and struggle to get along in nature and need clothing. That's what we've learned. All right, so just under a half hour. That's one of the fastest burns through 4 verses we've ever done. I Am Beanpole points out, we will have new robes, perfectly washed. Blood-washed linen, the blood of Christ, perfectly shiny, bright white robes. Let's get some Zoom going. I'm going to pause the music. Let me start the Zoom. Launching Zoom. All right, everyone's in for a treat. Whoever wants to come in, of course, can. New meeting. Join with computer audio. Cannot start video. Never figured that part out. Participants. Invite. Copy invite link. Here comes the chat. Boom. That's the same link as before. Does it need a passcode? No, it's got one. Okay. All right. All right, panelists. We are here. Let's see. Here we go. Black Yoda. Greetings. Let's play the cookie animation. Because I Am Beanpole just gave us a cookie.
Here comes cookie.
There we go. Can you hear me, Black Yoda?
I can, sir.
Sweet. Good to
Let me
see
go
you.
inside. I'm gonna grab some club soda. I'll be right back.
Right on. I Am Beanpole. Thank you for that cookie. We'll do another 4 or 5 verses next Wednesday as well. Here, I'll take a sneak peek into the next verse while Black Yoda's getting the... Where is it? Lost it. So Genesis 3:22 says, "Behold, the man has become like one of us, knowing good and evil. And now he might reach out with his hand and take fruit also from the tree of life and eat and live forever." ... Because the sentence ends mid-sentence because it's not done there. Here, let me show you that. That was here. Then in Hebrew, just until Black Yoda gets back, attempt to read it. Vayomer Ahaya Elohim Hin Ha'adam Haya Kehad Mimenu Ladaut Tob Vara Va'ata Pen Yishlach Yado Velakach Gam Me'etz HaChayim Ve'achal Ve'chai Leolam. Now we know that first phrase. Then God said, Vayomar Ahaya Elohim. Chin, that's lo or behold. 318 Old Testament usages. It's usually behold. In English, it's pretty much look at this or check this out. Is Yoda back? Yeah, there. Hey. Just, we were getting a head start on next week while you were getting your club soda. All right, so how are you?
I am fine, sir. Off topic, but when I was a kid, my grandfather used to drink lemon concentrate. He'd boil some water and add to it,
Right.
Kind of like a tea. It's funny, now that I'm older, I don't drink soda, but I will get club soda, which is just carbonated water.
Right.
And I'll add lemon concentrate to it with a little bit of guava syrup. Oh, It's the best, people.
Mm.
So I was confused on what part of Genesis. I thought you meant 16. And instead of 3:16, right?
Oh, yeah. Let's jump it forward.
But, I just got back from a friend's place. And so I just went over it real quick as you were doing it.
Sweet.
It almost sounds to me like, now that's kind of a long story. It had something to do with when my son was little and tried to lie to me about something. He couldn't figure out how I knew, you know? Kind of like with the, Adam and Eve. Even though they were smart because they ate the fruit, they're still trying to figure out, like, how did you know? You know what I mean?
Yeah. So God comes up to them and says, "Why are you running?" And they're like, "'Cause we're naked."
I wanted to ask you, what
Yeah.
version of the Bible are you reading from? Because yours reads different than mine.
So I decided to use NASB for the English part, but I'm also kind of rewriting it. I'm like, as you saw, I'm grinding through the Hebrew and just kind of making it G-Rossi, And I'm
Okay, so you're not reading KJV.
No, but we can. Here, let's do that.
No, that's fine. I was just curious.
You know, you bring up an interesting point about, like, let's go back.
Actually,
Yeah.
I would actually like it like that because it shows me the difference on translation. I don't know why they changed certain words.
That's a whole fun rabbit hole, isn't it?
Right?
Sometimes people will tell you it's just they change it so they can get a copyright. I don't know how much is in that.
Wait, how do you copyright the Bible?
I know, but I've heard that rumor. I don't know. So I'm going back to Genesis 3. Let's see. I'm on 11, 10. So, yeah, Adam says in the Hebrew, it says, your voice I heard in the garden was afraid because I was naked and I hid myself.
Right.
And then God's like, who told you you were naked? Did you eat from that tree I told you to not eat from?
Yeah.
And I see what you mean. Yeah, I'm getting it. Like, Adam was not putting it together. That's what you're pointing out about your son did not know how you knew.
All right, I'll tell you the story about my son. It's actually kind of funny, right?
Right.
So he had a loose tooth. And this is at the time where I finally talked his mother into letting him come stay with me, right? And he was about 5 or 6. And I worked second shift at the time. So I would tell him, because he would always get up early in the morning. And I would tell him, just climb on the counter, get a box of cereal, make a bowl of cereal for breakfast if you're hungry. And I would get up around 10:30, 11, right? And I would usually make him a lunch. And I made him some kind of sandwich. And I gave him an apple, poured him a glass of something to drink. And now keep in mind, I know about this loose tooth, right? So I go outside to smoke a cigarette. Didn't even smoke it all. And I come back in, and from the front door, I can see all the way through the living room to the kitchen, right?
Right.
And I had bar stools that there was a wide island type thing that came out, and he's sitting on the bar stool at the counter. And as soon as I walked through the door, I noticed the apple is gone. I'm like, okay. So I was like, Julian, you ate that apple already? And he was like, yeah. And I'm thinking to myself, there's no way in hell he ate that apple that fast with a loose tooth.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it was one of his front ones, right? And so I walk into the kitchen, and I had two garbage cans right there, one for regular garbage and one for recyclables, right? And I was like, and they have these bowl kind of tops that have the little flippy thing. You know what I mean?
I got lost there.
Well, there's 2 garbage cans sitting right there.
Oh, right.
To the thing.
Yep.
And so I was like, so if I take the lid off the garbage can, I'm not going to see an apple. And he kind of looks over and he's like, no.
Uh-oh.
And so I lift the lid, and the apple is sitting right there. And I pull it out and I sit it on the counter. And I was like, would you like to tell me why you lied to me? And he's like looking kind of ashamed and whatnot. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so I still had the grocery receipt. And I pointed to the receipt. This apple cost $1.25. Now, I had a bag of apples that cost $1.25, but I didn't tell him that, right? And I just made him feel embarrassed at the fact that he lied to me, knowing that he's not supposed to.
Right.
And then I had to explain to him how I knew. Because of the loose tooth, it wasn't enough time for him to eat it that fast.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And it just, I don't know why, but it just reminded me of that story or that experience.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, no, it is because you got more information than your son. And I didn't even see it until you kind of pointed it out. You know, Adam's like, I hid because I was naked. And God is like, ain't nobody told you were naked. You must have ate from that fruit.
Yeah.
Adam was not even putting it together, even though he had just done it.
You know, he had that fast heartbeat too.
Yeah. Well, and it's possible, you know, maybe Adam did know that somehow eating the fruit caused his feelings, but he still didn't admit the fruit. He's like, maybe I can get away with a partial truth. You know, I was looking naked, so I ran from you. He's like, yeah, you're hiding the fact that you ate the fruit. So I think it's a very similar story.
Yeah.
Now, did you do some prep off chapter 16?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, let's do it. What'd you bring us? I can.
Hold on, let me grab a Bible.
I could put some 16 up on the.
Wait, are you talking about 3:16 or 16?
What did you study? What did you bring?
I had already looked at 16, and that's talking about Abraham and Sarah.
Yeah, let's do it.
I don't want to jump too far ahead.
No. So, in my view, we covered the text part that I had set out for the evening, and the rest is bonus. If you have 16 fresh, let's look at it.
No, 16 goes way past where you're at right now.
That's okay.
Dude, we're gonna skip Cain and Abel if we do that. That's
No, I'll go back. Okay. All right. So you'll be able to remember your 16 stuff when we get to it.
Yeah, it's not hard to read, bro.
Right. All right, cool. I'd forget 16, by the time we got to it.
Basically talks about what Abraham and Sarah went through, you know, while trying to have kids, and then their handmaid, Hagar, or however you pronounce her name. She has a child, and then not long afterwards, his wife finally has a child. Right. Now, I don't know if people in the chat realize this or not, but Muslims are still fighting over that shit to this day.
Yes. True statement.
And that would be like having a brother that you've been fighting with over who took your toy, you know, 50 years later. That's ridiculous. Or at least to me it is. You know what I mean?
It's, yeah.
Like, I didn't know that for a long time.
Right.
And so a long time ago, I was trying to figure out, why is there so much tension in the Middle East? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then when I realized that's what it was, I was like, y'all been fighting over this shit for thousands of years on who has the blessing from God or whatever the hell, you know what I'm saying?
But is the land a little part of it?
That has a lot to do with it too.
Yeah. Let me catch up with 3 things from I Am Beanpole in the chat. He says the Bible fellowship that he used to attend covered Genesis and other books. Cool. I Am Beanpole says my interpretations were not always the same as what I was taught. That's probably awesome. I bet your interpretations were interesting. I Am Beanpole says fruit from the tree of knowledge. With the delay, I'm not sure what we were talking about when you said that, but we've caught up with the chat. You're right to point out that Ishmael and Isaac's offspring are going to fight forever, or until basically the end times. There's going to be a lot of Islamic conversion. You know, people in Islam will convert if I read the text right, but that's in the future.
You know, I've seen a lot of stories of people converting from Islam to Christianity.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you see it the other way around, you know?
Right.
It's instilled in me. I couldn't change if I wanted to, you know? I have friends of Islamic faith on my Facebook. One in particular is constantly posting quotes about the Quran. And we've had conversations to the point where it's like, I told him flat out, I was like, I don't necessarily agree with your religion, but I do recognize when you quote something that's good. You know what I mean? And vice versa.
Right.
Like, we don't argue with each other. Like, we actually share truth or information the most, but every now and then he'll quote something or I'll quote something, and he'll make a comparison or I'll make a comparison. And I guess my overall point is, if him and I can get along, what's wrong with these other people?
Mm-hmm.
You know?
That's a good point. So is the thing about Hagar and Isaac and Ishmael more of a, like, certain genetic types will fight constantly, but the spiritual children of both won't? Like, or are you guys breaking the paradigm by getting along? Like, I'm not sure.
I think by nature, most people want to get along.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly believe trauma in people's lives causes a type of bitterness that they just don't let go of.
Ooh, good point.
Like my roommate, she has that problem.
Right.
She's still mad at her ex-husband, and that was like 30 years ago.
Unforgiveness. Forgiveness is hard. I'm not sure if I've ever done it successfully.
It is. I've been wronged in my life to the point where I've been around that person since, and it's like I can't even stand to look at her. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, forgiveness is hard. I can admit that.
I think in my case, I've tried to avoid the people as much as possible, and also tried to avoid the confrontation in the first place, and really stayed pretty guarded and moved around pretty smart so that I don't have to test myself on that. Like, I don't think I've really been put to the test in a major way where I've got to figure out forgiveness like big time.
Well, let me ask you this. I never really thought about this until right now. So God curses Eve. How does the New Testament fit with that curse? With Jesus and everything?
Good question. So in the last couple of weeks, we've covered sort of the list of things that get listed right there. And we were even touching on it tonight. So food cultivation will be hard. Childbirth will be, hurt and be difficult. The husband will have authority over her, and she'll have a desire for her husband. Who knows what that means? And maybe a couple other things. The ground is cursed. So, and you'll die. They'll die. They'll all die, right? So those things. Now, Jesus fits in that he conquers death. So now death no longer has a sting. I could dig up that text, but, Paul writes, "Death, where is thy sting?" Right?
Right.
So the sting of death is removed. We still have to pass through it, but he's conquered it. So he was the first fruit, right? He died, dead for 3 days, resurrected, and he's the first among many to get that resurrection. So he conquers it that way. And then in heaven, we won't have children. So the whole thing of childbirth is not even going to be experienced. Did I answer your question? Maybe only partially?
Partly. I do have another one, though.
Yeah.
Where does Lilith come from?
Ooh, Lilith. Right. Adam's first secret wife.
Yeah.
Right. I don't know much about that. I know it's out there. I can't remember where it comes from as far as, like, if it's got in some old apocrypha or anything like that. I will occasionally read. Yeah, go ahead.
There's a lot of books that were left out of the Bible.
Mm-hmm. I've read some of them.
I've run across, like, the Book of Enoch.
I like that one. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, Enoch is a trip.
Yeah, I like that one.
Um, maybe it's in one of the books that weren't added. I honestly don't know.
So I'm looking it up. A female figure in Mesopotamian and Judaic mythology, first wife of Adam. Let's see. Book of she's mentioned in the book of Isaiah in biblical Hebrew. I'm reading up on that. Yeah, I'll create some dead air as I read this, but yeah, definitely out there. Personally, every time I've done okay, you mentioned it earlier. We hang with truthers. Like everyone here is a version of a truther. It's to some degree or another, right? So
Yeah, I believe that.
I've kind of dug into the Lilith thing. You know, it would complicate my theology and doctrine and all that if I really went too deep in that direction. So I've been kind of staying shy, but I'm not afraid to go and update my knowledge base. I just have never really been hooked into Lilith. It would cause so many questions to.
The little bit that I know had something to do with she thought Adam was like too demanding or something like that.
Right.
She leaves. Somehow she became like a demon spirit that steals kids. I don't know how true that is.
Well,
I never really followed up on it either.
We know that stuff is going on, right? That
yeah.
There's demonic forces out there cultivating and stealing children. Bill Tech is in the house, by the way. Hello, Bill Tech.
Yeah, because the children are the closest to God. They haven't really developed bitterness, heartache.
Right.
You know, their innocence keeps them close to God, you know?
I can see an argument for that. Like they haven't reached,
they haven't been tainted.
Say again, sorry.
They haven't been tainted.
No, they're I generally hold to the age of accountability, which is, you got to be like teenaged before you really can start doing the really bad way of doing things. But I had a guy who challenged me to prove age of accountability biblically once, and I fell short. So I don't teach it as 100% provable, but I tend to hold to it.
Well, there's a lot of parts in the Bible that tells you it's your responsibility to keep your kids on the right path and
that's right.
To maintain, that kind of innocence. So if you're a terrible parent, the child might learn things earlier than he should.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yep. It says, train your children in the ways of the Lord and they will not depart from it, or something like that.
Yeah.
And then you mentioned the millstone thing. Anybody who harms these little ones, it'd be better. You mentioned that last week, I want to say. I thought I heard. I think I remember you mentioned that.
Straight up drown them.
So
I hate thinking about stuff like that, but they're trying to sexualize kids and they're trying to normalize, something that isn't natural.
Right.
And if they actually go through with that, it's hunting season as far as I'm concerned.
Agreed.
There's been a lot of stories over the years where a father done caught somebody molesting their kid and murders done happened. You know what I mean? I've heard stories where they were like not guilty.
Here's something. Look back over your life. How often? I'm genuinely curious about you and anyone in the chat. Like, if I really stop and think and remember and start looking back over my life, over the people I've met and gotten to know, the amount of people that at a certain point will tell you a story of how they were sexually abused as a child, it's a very high number.
Dude, let me tell you. I had to do what the hell class was that? It was I think it was an anger management class, right?
Hmm.
And we were having a break, so I went outside to smoke a cigarette, and everybody else was still out there when I was finished. But the ones that didn't smoke, they just stayed in the classroom, right?
Right.
And as I'm walking down the hallway back to the classroom, the instructor, he makes the comment that over 40% of women have been raped at one point in their life, either as a child or as an adult, right?
Right.
And so when he finishes making that comment, I'm walking through the door, right? And I was like, did you say 40% of all women? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, dude, that's like half almost.
Right.
Like,
right.
I was like, are you shitting me? And so there was I don't know, about 6 or 7 ladies that were in this class, or that were in the room at the time, because there were some that were out, smoking.
Right.
And so I looked at the class and I was like, look, if y'all don't mind, how many of y'all have, had to deal with something like that? 3 of them raised their hand.
Yeah.
And I was just floored, dude. Like, I didn't even know what to say,
Yeah.
This was a long time ago, dude. This was like, like 15 years ago. I had no idea.
It's really hard to keep, your mind around it, because it's repulsive, right? You don't want to think that could happen that much.
Dude, as innocent and sweet as my roommate is,
Mm-hmm.
she's been raped before.
Yeah.
Huh? Oh my God. She said 3 or 4 times.
Wow.
I thought it was just the one that you told me about. Oh, wow.
Well, and that's kind of what I learned and forgot, and learned again and forgot, and then you'll meet someone else and then they'll tell you and you're like, wow. And they don't tell you up front. You got to get to know them, right? And at some point you'll find out, and it's like,
dude, you want to hear something awful?
Yeah, I think we have to.
Back when I was 20, because I remember where I was living at the time. I had a loft apartment on Glendale and 19th Avenue. And I meet this girl, and we're messing around and stuff. And you fast forward it was right before we moved over here. So this was about just over 2.5 years ago. I left work early for some reason. I don't remember why. And so I'm in the courtyard smoking a cigarette. And in this complex, there's only 11 units. It's really small. Everybody knows everybody. My neighbor comes home with this girl. And he's introducing me to her. And I'm looking at her. And she had a nickname, right? And I was like, Peaches? And she looks at my neighbor and she looks back at me and she was like, yeah, I used to go by that name. And I was like, Linda? Because it'd been so long, right?
Right.
And I was like, whoa. I was like, I've always wondered what happened to you. I was like, what's up? And so I'm trying to tell my neighbor how we know each other, right?
Right.
Fast forward about 45 minutes into the conversation. My neighbor's telling me about this book that he's trying to help her write. The book has to do with how her mother used to sell her for drugs when she was like small.
Mm.
I'm talking like from infant all the way, that blew my mind, dude. That blew my mind.
That reminds me. Well, first of all, that needs a moment of silence, right? That reminds me of somebody that's I live in a North Dallas suburb, and I was talking to somebody about some of the volunteer work they do. And she basically helps victims of trafficking here in these, what in a movie you would say it's an ideal world, just suburbs in America. And I was like, really, where are a lot of these victims? She's like, right here, right in these towns, right in these big old houses, which look, everything should be perfect inside. And it's
it makes
where,
me wonder, like, what the hell are your neighbors doing?
Right. So I'm going to get the Zoom boot in like 8 minutes, just so you know. I got the warning.
Okay. Are we logging back in, or how does that work? I forgot.
Normally, I would want to do at least like an hour of the panel, but I found out late in the day that I got to get up super early for a work thing. So I wonder if we could cut tonight just a tiny bit short.
No, that's fine. That's fine. But we did kind of get off topic. I didn't mean.
No. Like I kind of like. By the way, I appreciate. I can't tell you. I must have seen you in like 3 different chats, like on 3 different shows in 3 different panels. Like I saw you on Do. I want to say I saw you on a couple other, and you were mentioning you were hyping the night, so it was pretty cool. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I tried, but it's not always fun and whistles.
I know.
I had somebody called me Farrakhan or something like that last night, and we got into an argument over this shit.
Yep.
But shit happens,
Yep.
But no, I try to bring the energy. I try to, keep it lively.
It's awesome. So next week I'm gonna pick up with let's see. Well, do you want me to send you a DM and I'll just that way you have it in writing?
Yeah.
The exact
I thought
verses.
You were gonna do. Are we skipping around the Bible, or are we just going right through it?
Yeah, if you don't mind, I'd like to just grind through and get 4 or 5 sentences. We can talk about the format. Like,
well,
the
no,
only reason,
I was asking because Cain and Abel is next.
They should be coming up real soon. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm starting with 3:22. And, I got through, I went kind of fast, and I got through 4 verses in 25 minutes. So, and I don't, would you rather, let me ask you this question. And I have a feeling if we get cut off, I'll restart the Zoom link. I think it's the same link, just pop back in. If it kicks us out, we'll just pop right back in. But would you prefer hanging out in the Zoom and we run through the verses and we can stop and comment, or how would you want to do that? Like I was thinking about.
It's up to you. I feel uncomfortable answering that.
Okay. Well, if tonight worked well for you, maybe I'll stick with that.
Yeah, that's fine because I get to see the chat when you're doing it.
Okay, that's cool.
And it gives me time to like go over it and refresh my memory.
Right on. I'll put in the DM.
Hey, what's nice?
Yeah.
You know what's nice about my Bible?
Tell me.
It's not just that it's broken up into, what book you're in and the chapters and numbers. Mm-hmm. It's more than that. It breaks it up into, it'll title each section as to what this section is about. At before it even starts, it'll be like, this is that section. This is the serpent's curse and blah, blah, blah. It's broken down and it's really nice. It makes it so much more pleasant to find certain things. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm also going to work on how to get the video of you up on the screen, because we've done 2 weeks of this where you're only a voice. And so I'll work on that. I used to know how to do it. I'll figure that out.
You can't see me? I can see me.
Yeah, I'm not showing. Here, I'll work on it.
Maybe it's something I got to do.
No, you know what? Now, I got you. You're on it now.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
All right, I got you on there. So if you can, it's what I'm doing is I'm showing my whole screen. That's the only way I've ever figured out how to do it. And let's see, can I get a virtual camera? The OBS virtual camera doesn't seem to do anything. Let me try.
I've never used it, but I've heard OBS can be difficult sometimes.
Yeah, it's got some pluses and some minuses. So yeah, it won't let me start the video. So here, what I'll do, maybe I can do it this way. I'll play with it. Maybe if I disable. Well, let me not create dead air while I do tech live on screen. Between now and next week, I'll figure out. So my gut, this is one thing. I went a little fast through the verses today, but I think I want to hit about 45 minutes of the verse chunk. So like that's 9 o'clock your time was the start of the show tonight, right?
Yeah, but for some reason, I don't get. Are you on D Live?
Yeah, we're on D Live right now.
For some reason, lately, I haven't been getting notifications.
Ew. Oh, we just got the can from Sloan TV. Let me play the can animation. 1 second. You won't be able to hear this. I got to figure out a way to get my audio in here too. I know there's a way. Anyway, the can animation has played. It's long. It's like a phrase from the Can, the French song. The one that goes.
So,
yeah, go ahead.
Oh no, go.
I was gonna sing. Oh, I've
Oh, I've heard that before.
Yeah, so I've got a bunch of people disco dancing, and then that's the song. So
that's funny.
That was from Sloan TV. Thanks for that, Sloan TV. Commander Sloan.
Yeah.
He says, hi, Black Yoda, by the way. So I've been ignoring the chat. So Winchester says, is that Black Yoda? Kind of sounds like him. Yes, Winchester. I'm doing a terrible job of not showing video. I think you're seeing it now, though. Here, let me go back to... I'll do it like this. I think
but
I missed...
Dude, I love this Bible. The other good thing that... Here, I'll try to show it to you.
Yeah.
It's kind of... But do you see on one side, you can see where the words are, and then there's like this side, it's markings, so you can take notes.
Nice.
Dude, I love this Bible. I'll try to find the link that I ordered it from off of Amazon and share it with you.
Right on. Oh, I see where it tells me we've got 1.5 minutes left, and then we'll just restart the Zoom. Sloan says, D-Live notifications are not dependable. I'd have to agree.
Wait, he said what?
D-Live notifications are not dependable. That's been Sloan's experience.
Dude, what was I on? I was watching something on YouTube, and they had a what link was that? I forgot the name of the damn program. The one that Craig and Brad used to use.
Oh,
for,
Discord or Gilded?
Yes, Discord. Now, I hadn't used Discord since Brad got kicked off,
right?
Or Craig. And so I'm watching something on YouTube, and they had a Discord link, and I was like, well, let me, and I don't like Discord that much, but so I clicked the link, and as soon as I did that, a notice came up about Better Lately and misinformation and all kinds of other shit. I was like, what the fuck?
I know. I got one of those from something. Oh no, I was watching the guy that writes the fan fiction around Foxhole and Pilled. It'll come to me. Anyway, because here, let's go in. Join. Participants, invite, copy invite, link, paste. Oh, it's like I've got a fake shot clock on there. There we go. Black Yoda, come back. There we go. There we go.
Hello.
Hey, hey. Well, you're back on screen, and yeah, let's do a round of final thoughts. I will normally go a little longer, but I found out today I got to get up real early in the morning.
No, I think I'm gonna really enjoy doing this with you.
Nice.
I had just got back home about 20 minutes before I messaged you in the chat. So I did like the way you did that because it gave me time to catch up with what you had already read, you know?
Yep.
I don't really have any final thoughts as far as what you guys had read. I mean, the story with Adam and Eve is probably one of the more simple ones to understand. And even people that don't follow God kind of know that one. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Cain and Abel is where it's going to get interesting.
Yes, for sure.
Some people think they had different fathers. Now, I know the Bible doesn't talk about that. But then you got to start talking about like cannibalism, Canaanites, all of that stuff.
Right.
And you got to ask yourself, are these people really the descendants of Cain? You know?
Yep. I'm going to play a quick cookie animation.
Here comes Cookie.
All right. That one's short. That one's over. Keep going, please. That was from Frank Staint, though, I should say.
If you're going to start with 22 next week,
yeah,
that ends at 24, and then Cain and Abel starts.
Yeah. So I'm going to try to hit, here's what I'm thinking. I really, for some reason, want to do about 40, 45 minutes and then start the panel. So I might get about 5 verses in, maybe 6. I'll try to hurry through. I'll see if there's a natural stopping point. But I mean, we've been grinding through this real slow, like, because you saw the way I'm doing it. I'm breaking it down word for word, making sure we know what the Hebrew word, how it's used. Yeah.
And that is important because some words have different meanings.
Mm-hmm.
And I noticed that you noticed that too.
Yeah.
There's a channel that I follow on YouTube. They do it a similar way where they'll break, I forget what dictionary they use. I should have wrote that down because I always meant to order one.
Well, let me mention real quick, when Frank Staint put the cookie in, he said, "Hi, Black Yoda." And he said, "Heading to bed soon. First major nosebleed in 48 years. Sorry about the nosebleed, Frank Staint, but wanted to let you know he said hi to you.
Hey, hello, sir. Yeah, I'm gonna be interested in the whole Cain and Abel thing because even Jesus didn't want to help the Canaanite.
Right.
Remember that? Yeah.
Well, what I mean by agreeing with you is, in my theology, Jesus is God all along, and he wanted them to kill the Canaanites. But yeah, I'll. What part are you talking about in the New Testament? Here, let me see if I can find that right now.
I would have to look that one up about the Canaanite.
Yeah, let me Google it real quick.
If we Canaanite, you should come up with something.
Yeah.
It was a lady, if I remember right.
Yeah, he puts off. You're absolutely right. Is this the one? Yeah. He calls her, is this the one? Let's see. He calls her a dog. So it's Matthew 15:21 through 28. Let's go.
You know the other name for female dog, right?
Yes. Matt 15.
Makes you wonder.
Right. All right. So faith of a Canaanite woman. Let me read it real quick. Do you want me to? Is it okay?
Yeah, fine.
Jesus went thence and departed into the coasts of Tyre and Sidon, and behold, a woman of Canaan came out of of the same coasts, and cried unto him, saying, Have mercy on me, O Lord, thou son of David. My daughter is grievously vexed with the devil. But he answered her not a word. And his disciples came and besought him, saying, Send her away, for she crieth after us. But he answered and said, I am not sent but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Then came she and worshipped him, saying, Lord, help me. But he answered and said, It is not meet to take the children's bread and to cast it to the dogs. And she said, Truth, Lord, yet the dogs eat of the crumbs which fall from their masters' tables. Then Jesus answered and said unto her, O woman, great is thy faith. Be it unto thee even as thou wilt. And her daughter was made whole from that very hour. So he disses her. She comes back. He disses her again, and she comes back more. And then he's like, all right, you got it.
She basically was saying, am I not worthy of just a crumb?
Right. Sloan says...
That's actually really deep.
It is. And, you asked earlier about the curse, and then we're talking about Isaac and Ishmael, and then, Jesus is the great uniter in many ways. Like, he's rescuing from all nations, tribes, and tongues. And it's proven here because he's even... After centuries of war with the Canaanites, he's even letting at least one get benefit from him. Is that fair?
Well, I give that lady her props because that was probably the best way she could have answered that.
Yep.
He calls her a dog and then makes the comparison of, even the dog gets to eat the master's crumbs.
Right. She doesn't sit there and get all miffed at him for calling her a dog. She's like, if you say I'm a dog.
But at the same time, she's calling him master.
Right. Yeah.
That's probably the best way she could have answered that.
Yes. And then he says, your faith is great.
Yeah.
That's great. I'm glad you brought that up.
I actually got goosebumps on that one.
Sorry, say again?
I actually got goosebumps.
I got a little bit too. Sloan TV says, prayers frank. And that makes me want to quickly pray for Frank's nosebleed. Let's do 20 seconds of that. Is that cool? Black Yoda? You down?
Yeah. Yeah.
Lord God, just want to bring Frank Staint's nosebleed to you and pray that it's just a minor issue. Maybe just do some dry air, nothing crazy, and that it's just a blip of the past in his mind immediately. I ask this in Jesus' name. Amen.
I'm not trying to make light of this situation, but for some reason, that Kenny Gardner cop scene popped in my head. It's a tumor.
Right. It's not a tumor. My mom loved that line. We lost my mom about 3 years ago.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's losing a parent. Losing someone that you've never not been there's your parents you've always seen, right? Or whoever it is that raised you. Like if it's your grandmother, whoever raises you, you just got their memory going way back.
Dude, and it never goes away.
And when they
doesn't
pass,
hurt as much, but there's times, man, where I think about my grandfather. He passed away when I was 17. Mm-hmm. And I've learned so much since then, Ross.
Yep.
I can't wait to be able to just sit down and chop it up with him,
Yeah. I don't know if I've told this story here.
If you don't mind, how did she pass?
Oh, we have, so she was by herself and she was in her house. She was very proud of having obtained a house. She'd had to move out and live with her kids for a little while, and she didn't really like it. So she really wanted to get back into a house. So she was by herself in her house, and they wanted to do an autopsy just to rule out any kind of like, to be honest, you could tell they were checking for suicide, but they said no because she was by herself. And, you know, she had quite a few prescriptions of different things. And so they wanted to make sure there was no OD or anything. But she had like a potassium problem, not long ongoing, but I remember the coroner's report said something about really elevated potassium levels. But I don't know if they proved it was a heart attack or anything, but it was probably something like circulatory. She was about 74, 73, something around there. And, you know, she had lived a pretty rough life, and she wasn't in the absolute best of health, but it was a shock and a surprise to us.
So I typically work on circuit boards, so I'm looking through this microscope all day, and it makes me have to like lean my head down to look into the scope, right?
Right.
And after 20 years of doing this, it changed the curve in my neck.
Oh.
And I didn't know. So I started getting this pain in my back.
Right.
Like if you try to reach back and touch like your spine, almost as far back as you can reach is about where that pain was, right?
Right.
And it just got worse and worse and worse to the point where that spot went around my shoulder and down my right arm.
Right.
And it was just, it was miserable. And what I sat on would either make it worse or it wouldn't bother it. Like, it's kind of hard to explain, but some chairs just bothered it, some didn't. And so I finally go to the doctor, and they give me a shot, and they asked me if I wanted muscle relaxers. And I was like, hell no.
Right.
And the only reason why I knew to say no was because a couple of months before this, my cousin's girlfriend's sister, she was taking muscle relaxers.
Right.
They went out, had some drinks one night, and she accidentally took another one, thinking that she didn't take one earlier. She didn't wake up the next morning.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, she clocked out by accident.
Right.
So when they asked me because I like to have my beers, especially when I was working, I'd get off work, knock a couple back. You know what I mean? I was so glad my cousin told me about that.
Eesh. Yeah. By the way, not to make light, but I'm going to anyway. You said your sister's cousin's friend. That's almost a line from Spaceballs.
No, my cousin's girlfriend's sister.
Cousin's girlfriend's sister. That's almost a line from Spaceballs. Do you remember that movie?
What's that?
Do you remember Spaceballs?
Oh, dude, I loved that movie when I was a kid. When Lord Helmet smashed his shit.
Right. He says something in there like, Sloan TV says, Black Yoda, get an inversion table. I've broke my back and have degenerative discs. No problems since the inversion table.
I've seen those. But for me, the chiropractor did me a lot of justice. I know you hear bad stories, but I can't say nothing bad about these people. Like, it took about a month and a half. Dude, when I would lay down, it would just flare up.
Right.
Like a month, dude, I could not sleep. You know what I mean?
Right.
It was agony. And dude, there was one night where I almost cried because I was like, please, God, just let this shit go away.
Right. Ooh,
and so I'm going to the chiropractor. And after about a month or so, I'm laying in bed in the most awkward position because it didn't hurt finally. You know what I mean? And I was like, God, I promise if you just let the pain be gone, I will not move.
Right.
I wouldn't wish that on anybody, dude. I didn't even know a pinched nerve could feel like that, you know?
Right.
But yeah, I'm sorry to hear about your mother passing like that.
I appreciate that. I always like to tell people, and people who've gone through this know, it's going to be different for everybody, but similar in many ways. By the way, did you notice I finally fixed my camera? I think I could see you now.
Yeah, I see you.
And I think if I'm doing this right, I think we're both now on Restream. But when someone that close to you is never going to be somebody you can call on the phone or go visit and see, and you go through day 1, day 2, day 3, and you just your bones start to realize this is permanent. It's one of the most permanent feelings I've ever had.
Yeah. What about your father? Is he still around?
He is. It's a blessing. He's about 5 miles he lives 5 miles away from where I live.
Oh, nice, nice. My father is double vaxxed, people. I argued with him for weeks for him not to even get that first one, you know?
Right.
And he had the balls to tell me, I think you just got the wrong information.
Right.
He even, at one point, he says, well, Steve, I trust the science. And I was like, the only people that are saying that are the ones listening to their TV.
Right. So I'm sharing.
Something popped up on the screen. I'm not sure what
that
is.
I'm trying. I'm just doing something I shouldn't do. I'm trying to figure out how to. So I can't.
There's an echo now.
I guess I can't just share audio. All right, never mind. Thought I was gonna be fancy.
Whatever you did when you talk, there's an echo.
All right, let me stop. If I can figure out how to stop.
Or at least for me, there's an echo.
No, I'm sure. I'm sure it is. How do I stop? No. Stop sharing. Okay, I muted my audio.
Yeah, I can hear you without it, I think. Say something.
Okay, something.
Yeah, there's no more echo.
Okay. So now what I want to do, can you hear the music now? It's kind of quiet. Do you get the music also? Oh, let me turn it up.
It's really low.
Yeah.
Like it's super low.
Cool. But my ever-existing goal of getting... I turned it up a little. Can you hear it now?
Yeah.
All right, so now I'm going to put it down kind of medium-low. This is for next week. Just trying to get this all figured out.
Oh, so a little background noise? Yeah, that'd be nice.
I think this could work.
Oh, my roommate, she's sitting right here. She's been sitting here this whole time.
Hello, Bernie. Not to dox anyone. Just trying to show off that I know you.
She doesn't mind. Say it again.
Hi, Greg.
How you doing?
I'm good.
I'm glad to hear it.
She still appreciates the conversation that you had with her.
We had a good time.
Dude, that night that she fell onto my oh man, that scared the shit out of me.
Oh yeah. I can't see Restream.
Dude, get this. Remember?
Yeah.
All right, so you remember we were talking about that night that she fell, right?
Yep.
So this is about a week ago. She's been drinking, and when she's lit, she kind of walks like George Jefferson. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I just happened to go inside. I don't even remember why I went inside. And she's sitting on the edge of the bathtub washing her feet. And I'm like, Bernie, what the hell are you doing?
Right.
Now, she can be sober and have a hard time walking because she has bad knees from a car accident, right?
Right.
And so she waits until she's drunk to go sit on the edge of the tub. Now the tub is all slippery and soapy and shit. You know what I mean? Dude, it took me like 5 minutes to lift her ass out of that tub. because I didn't want her to do it by herself. You know what I mean?
Right.
I need I need to hire somebody just to help me watch her.
Yes. Right. No. Where did I put my...
Love her to death, though.
Now I lost the video of us. Wow. Let me quickly play a cookie animation because Sloan has rewarded the chaos with a cookie. Here, hang on. Zoom. Cookie.
Here comes cookie.
All right. Did you hear the cookie that time, Black Yoda?
I heard "Here comes" and then
Cookie.
it shut off.
Yeah, okay. That was pretty close. Pretty much it. I have broken... here we go. Talking. There we go. Got it.
But yeah, I'll try to remember to look up. I think on Amazon you can do a history search on the things that you've ordered
Mm-hmm.
and do like a buy again thing and word it. I think I can find the link. Dude, this is a really nice Bible. I like the way it's laid out. And the fact that it breaks up the sections like that and gives you a headline on what that section is going to be about, I think that's awesome. I didn't even know that was a feature when I ordered it.
Right on.
Actually, the reason why I ordered it was pretty superficial. I have like a lot of turquoise appliances. Like
Yep.
my mini fridge is turquoise. I got a lot of retro, like my toaster and the toaster oven are retro turquoise. Dude, I ordered this Bible because it was turquoise.
That's awesome. Listen,
Dude, it was like the best Bible I ever had. You know?
yeah. I get sometimes a little, like I have to hold myself back from wanting to go out and buy too many Bibles. I only have like about 2 or 3 or 4. The family has about 5 or 6 total. Like, I recognize one. I've seen people go crazy with that, just buying tons of Bibles because they look different and they're cool.
Yeah. I mean, that's not a bad problem to have, though.
No, it's not. Not at all.
Actually, Carrie Lake, something popped up on my. Where did I see that?
Is that the super
somebody
short,
shared it on my.
super
on
short hair
Facebook.
lady, right?
Yeah, she's the one running for governor here in Arizona.
She
Dude, I really
like,
dig-
yeah. Sorry.
No, what's up?
No, I keep interrupting. Sorry.
She is really pleasant to listen to, but I have a friend that's here in the Phoenix. He shared the link. And it's about 1.5 minutes long, and she's at the podium. And it starts off with saying, he was like in the middle of saying something, but it starts with her saying, we need to bring him back. And she holds up her hand just a little bit, pointing up, right?
Yeah.
And the crowd starts to cheer, and and they were like, not him.
Right.
Although I do agree with you, but that's not who I'm talking about. And then she raises her hand and points all the way to the sky.
Nice.
I'm talking about bringing him back.
Mm.
Dude, the crowd stood up and just roared, bro.
That's awesome.
That's the kind of God body energy we need, you know?
Oh, yeah. Like, I'm glad you mentioned God body because, like, that's totally New Testament, right? We're the body of the Messiah or Christ, the Savior. His children are knitted together in one body. And I think that's kind of what you're talking about, but I don't 100% know.
A little bit, yeah.
I mean, I'm kind of putting my own spin on it, right?
And this was talking about, we never should have taken God, like, out of things,
Right.
And she mentions, as soon as we took God out of everything, all the worst stuff started happening to America.
Yeah, I sort of suspect Roe versus Wade was a curse.
Oh, how could it not be?
Right. And that thing is lifted on paper, gone. Whatever it was.
Bernie wants to know if
Yeah.
Your son or your kids, do they do the Pledge of Allegiance at all when they go to school?
I've seen them do it, yes.
Because for us, like when I was a kid and when she was a kid, we used to do that every morning.
Yeah.
Like before class started.
Well, I'm in Texas. We do the United States pledge and then the Texas pledge. They were doing it at his school.
I can see that for Texas. I really can.
I wouldn't be surprised if the whole reason they do the pledge to the U.S. flag is because they want to do the Texas one, and they're like, well, we got to do the big one first.
It's funny.
But yeah, the up to the 5th graders did it. I don't know about the 6th graders. He went through 6th grade last year. I don't know if they did it then. But all the way up through 5th, I heard him doing it.
Okay. Maybe... Wait, didn't DeSantis do something like they were going to start doing that again in Florida?
Ooh, nice. Yeah, probably. Can I just be the guy who says, I love DeSantis, but I feel like he's... I don't know.
Have you ever looked at his resume?
Tell me more. No.
Dude, this dude was like a JAG officer or something like that.
Okay, that's cool.
Man, there was a lot of stuff on there. I think he had a degree for at one point he was like a lawyer or something.
Okay.
Like, he was a prosecutor in the Navy or something like that, right? Dude, this guy is no joke. He has a great resume.
Right.
He's 2 years younger than I am. It makes me feel ashamed.
Right.
Now I like DeSantis, you know?
Yeah, like...
Now, if Carrie Lake gets into office, she's going to be a lot like him. That's going to be awesome.
So, Carrie Lake, I've just now started warming up to her, like about a week ago. I was, for some reason, just holding back, going, I don't know. And then then you told me that story, which helps even more.
I don't blame you, because for like 27 years, she was a journalist. Mm-hmm. Or she was a news anchor. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So when she first announced that she was running for governor, I was skeptical.
Right.
Because one, I don't trust mainstream media. Not even a little bit do I trust it. You know?
Right.
And the more I started listening to her, because some of the Trump rallies, she would come out and talk. Hold on, I got a critter to kill.
Kill it.
Ah, man, he saw me and ran. He ran into where I got the plants. I've been trying to figure out where they coming from. Here in Central Phoenix, we have canal systems.
Yep.
And for the older homes, there's an irrigation system. So like every now and then they'll open up those gates and it'll flood everybody's yard that has signed up for that, right? So these monster ass sewer roaches, they're in that irrigation system. So when they flood it with water, they just come, oh my God.
Ugh, yeah.
And they're huge, bro. They're like 2.5, 3 inches. And some of them fly.
Yeah. Oh, they do. Yeah. Yeah. It's disgusting.
So the other night, I was walking my dog, and I do like it, this loopy kind of walk. And on the way back, the street that I'm walking down, it's flooded on one side because the irrigation thing was open. You know what I mean?
Right. Yep.
And that's when it dawned on me, this is where they're coming from.
Got it.
So, yeah. Pain in the butt.
Sloan TV says, hard to trust things these days. Talking about Carrie Lake. Agreed. And,
if she backs up even half of the stuff that she's talking about,
right?
she has my vote. She's talking about continuing where Trump left off with the wall.
Right.
She's talking about going after people that were slow playing the all the nonsense that we saw with election fraud,
Mm-hmm.
right? And
Right.
they've already prosecuted people here. There's been a couple that already pled guilty. They didn't even want to go to trial.
Right. That's
know?
awesome. Yep.
There
Well,
was
so
one
yeah.
lady, one is in Tucson. I forget her name, but as soon as that 2,000 mules dropped,
Yeah.
She was giving it up.
You bring up a good point. You're kind of pointing out the things are happening, right? We like to say it's happening. I always try to pronounce what Pepe the Frog says, like it's happening. Things are happening. It's just it's so perfectly timed that if a certain amount of the normies want to stay asleep, they can just stay asleep through this whole ride. Sleepers.
I
Yeah.
don't
Sorry.
give up on them. My father's one of them.
Yeah. Fair.
Matter of fact, the conversation I was in last night, before all hell broke loose,
Right.
Belushi had asked a question, and there were so many people talking at the same time. We decided to do a circle,
Right.
and turns, right? Drunk Pinata was there, Belushi was there, a bunch of other people, and I asked to go last, right? There's a clip of Malcolm X.
Yep.
And he's talking about how Democrats can't keep their promise to the black people. So why do you keep voting for them? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And he basically says that makes you a political chump.
Right.
That was the point that I wanted to make last night. And why I bring that up is because you could take that speech and compare it to right now, and it's still the same thing.
Yeah.
Like people like my father, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I've given up. I've tried to convince him and show him shit so many. All it does is start an argument, you know?
Yeah. You know, I've only listened to a little bit of Malcolm X, but it's hard to find anything objectionable in the pieces I've listened to.
You got to understand, like, I've read his autobiography.
Yep.
It was written by Alex Haley, the same guy that wrote Roots, right?
Yep.
He's got an interesting story, bro. Towards the end of his life, he walked away from Farrakhan and Elijah Muhammad because he went to Mecca and it opened his eyes that it's not just about black people, it's about everybody, you know? And that's part of the reason why he got assassinated.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I got a little offended when dude was like, "Don't bring up that Farrakhan shit." I was like, dude, that's not even what I'm trying to get at.
Right.
But it's not all black people. I mean, a lot of black people have woken up. Look at Candace Owens with Brexit and all that shit. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But Carrie Lake, she won me over a long time ago, dude. She was doing I think Trump was here. And she was speaking before him. And she brought up the fact that Fauci needs to be arrested.
Right. That's a winner.
She was bringing up all the good ones, bro. Like, nah. Yeah. Nah, she won me over a long time ago. You know, it's not my place to convince you, but I'm just saying she won me over a long time ago.
Well, at a certain point, okay, we're watching a show, right? What does it mean to walk into a voting booth and pull the lever or push the little button or whatever you do these days? What does it mean? You know, it's on the Sunday night show, I'll typically get crazy philosophical. Well, we know they steal our vote, so it means very little in 2020, let's say, in 2020, for example. But,
right.
You know, is it a big spiritual impact? Well, you know, like, what would Jesus do? Would he vote? Who would he vote for? That's a reasonable question. And not so easy to answer, I don't think always. But it's like, you might be making a spiritual impact by going in there, putting your name down, and putting an opinion. Maybe.
Well, there is a such thing as collective consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
And by them stealing the vote like this, they're affecting that.
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
Now that we see their, like, how they've been doing it, the best way we can combat that is to hit them in the numbers. I don't care how doubtful you are on whether or not your voters effective people. The more we hit them with the numbers, the harder it is for them to lie about cheating, because you only have so many registered voters.
Right. Exactly.
Dude, one of Trump's first rallies here in Phoenix when he was still running for president.
Right.
We went. The funny part is, some of his other rallies had like Antifa and shit trying to show their ass. You know what I mean?
Right.
Now, he had this rally over where they have the fair, the carnival stuff once a year, right?
Yep.
It's really dry and it's really hot. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Dude, I think Antifa tried to show up, but they didn't know about the Arizona heat. And it's really dry. There's no shade over there. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, they gave that shit up real quick. But my roommate with her old butt, when we first got there, we saw a couple of them trying to like show out, you know what I mean? And I actually had to grab her by the shoulders and like steer her away from the guy, you know what I mean? She's more feisty than I am, people.
So Sloan TV a while ago said, "I'm just voting for Carrie because she's hot. Mailing in vote from Ohio." I thought that was pretty funny. Dr. Hoffman says,
for her age, she is cute. I'll give her that.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I'm starting to get used to this new format where I've got Zoom on the right, so I'm showing a picture of her in the middle of the screen. You'll probably have to see it on the delay. Dr. Hoffman in the house says, "Good evening, gentlemen." Hello, Doc. Frank loves you very much. Sorry, Black Yoda, you said?
I feel like we got way off topic though. Is
I know.
that good or bad?
It's fine. I think it's completely fine. I've got 2 minutes and 30 seconds until the Zoom expires again. Do you want to do final thoughts, or do you want to re-up it? Because I do have to get out of here.
Yeah, let's do final thoughts, because you said you have to get up early.
Yeah, this particular time I do. They hit me.
And it's a 11:45. I haven't even made dinner for the two of us yet.
Oh, right on. Well, there's an unofficial Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say there's a 2-minute shot clock by happenstance. If we go over, we can restart it.
Like before, I don't really have much for final thoughts. I think next week would be a lot of fun, pissing off these demons, talking bad about Kane.
Mm-hmm.
As far as what we were just talking about, I'm really looking forward to November, people. I can't wait. You have that sheriff in Louisiana that's, I think he's in the House, and I can't think of his name to save my life. He's always wearing a cowboy hat.
Oh,
right?
Is it Arpaio, or there's so many sheriffs now?
Louisiana.
Yeah. My brain only had room for one sheriff name ever. It's always Arpaio, no matter who sheriff it is. Sorry.
Yeah, he used to be the sheriff here in Arizona.
That was way back. Yep.
But I mean, he was one of the first people that I heard talking about, you know, all these vets that were kicked out for not getting jabbed.
Yeah.
Need to be reinstated with back pay. Like, there's so many good things that's going to happen after November, dude.
I agree.
We got to hit him with the numbers, you know? There's people lining up to do right versus all these, man, like I said before, if they just use their powers for good, it'd be way better place, you know?
That's right.
I will go back to the chat and I will talk to you later, sir.
Black Yoda, this has been an honor and a pleasure. We'll see you next week, but
I
we'll
feel
see you
the same
around
way.
before then.
Yeah, all right. Hey, don't you and your son still have a show together?
On Fridays, yep. We can definitely, you can hit that anytime. It's a little earlier, like 3:30 your time.
Okay. I'll keep that in mind.
That's open season as well. All right. Whoop. That was Black Yoda. Let me change the screen. I'm so cheap. I don't know if I'm ever going to buy that Zoom thing. I'll have to figure that out. Maybe I should. I probably should buy the Zoom thing. I'm just so cheap. Whoops. That's a fake. That's an illegal. That's an illegal can. Oh, can't believe I did that. Illegal. Here, let's close Zoom. That was Black Yoda. Where's my video capture device? Maybe this one. Activate. There we go. Let me start the chat. Sloan TV said, "This is great TV." And when Sloan TV says that, it sounds like this. It's great TV. I can't do it. I'm going to get there one day. I've been told to not worry about it. I forgot who told me that. Winchester. Let's start the I have to get out of here music so that I'll get out of here. That's right. We're learning as we go. Next week, we'll give you 4 or 5 verses for the first 30, 40 minutes of the show. We'll do the panel. There will be a little more homework from host and panelist. And I have to tell you that Sunday will be Funklosophy at 11:30 Central PM. But first Friday at 5:30, Angular joins me for Red Pill Weekly. Oh, let me release the Scratchy Scratch. I knew I was forgetting something. Scratchin' is released. Talk.brave.com. Thank you, Sloan. Commander Sloan teaching his Rangers. Let me write that down. All right, let me start the real outro, and we'll see you on Friday. Oh, let me throw this in as I yell at the thing. I see up on the boards, Sloan TV is playing some syndication. I'm gonna head over to that chat. So in about 2 minutes, I'll be there, and I'll see you all there. Hasta. Congratulations on the winnings. There's my button. Thank you for spending time with us. We're joined on Fridays by co-host Angular. This has been G. Ross, and you are the underscore. Be sure to catch us on the foxhole.app, DLive, YouTube, or Facebook. Current shows include the Red Pill Weekly. You've been red pilled, now be the red pill. You're out of the oven and ready for delivery on our weekly alternative news roundup and call-in show on Foxhole, DLive, YouTube, and Facebook every Friday at 5:30 p.m. Central, co-hosted by G. Ross and Angular. Current shows include epistemology for fun and profit, where woo meets goo. You're in the woo, and the woo is in you. A philosophical call-in show with occasional guest interviews, diving into the oldest questions. Most episodes are exclusively on the foxhole.app, Sunday at 11:30 p.m. Central. Current shows include 9dNation, the nation with no denomination. Declare to the custom agents any edible plants or miscellaneous worldviews. We take a look back at how we got here, eventually leading into a regular Wednesday night Bible study at 11 p.m. Central. Catch us on the foxhole.app, DLive, YouTube, and Facebook. Our Friday co-host is Angular. This has been G. Ross, and you are the underscore.